Given an array inventory representing the stock count of different products in a store, where each occurrence of zero represents a product that is out of stock. Duplicate each occurrence of zero. Each occurrence of zero, indicating an order placed to restock the, that product, shifting the remaining product count to the right. Duplicate each occurrence of zero, indicating an order placed to restock that product, shifting the remaining product counts to the right. Modifications should be done in place in the inventory array, and elements beyond the length of the original array should not be modified. Elements beyond the length of the original array should not be modified. Um, Elements beyond. Wait. So that what that means is I got a question. So if a zero occurs at the very end, right? Yeah. So if a zero occurs at the very end of the array, like do I still? So I don't duplicate it because there is not enough room. Um, that's a question. An array inventory where each element is an integer representing the stock count of a product. Uh, there is no separate output array. The inventory array will be modified in place. All right, so that this is the input inventory, and so we duplicate this zero, we shift this to the right? Yeah. Let me see if I understand this properly. So second product inventory to the right in the inventory list. Um, so here we have 3 to 1. There are no out of stock products. The inventory remains unchanged. Um, let me see if I understand this. Let me see if I understand this. Say a touch of program here. All right, so this is the inventory. Uh, so zeros represent out of stock. Mm, so if I let me see if I understand. Let me say count zeros. All right, is equal to what? 3. All right, so we have 3 zeros. Let me use some pointers. I'm going to say pointer I. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So the length of the array is 8, but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the length is 8. Steps are, I'm going to say steps are 7. Right, and I'll say for J, I'm going to say, so I'm going to use 2 pointers, I and J. And I will be 7, like I'm going to have 7 steps on it. Kind of have a theory because I've already worked on a project similar to this. So I'll say like J is equal to 7 plus the count of zeros, right? Which is like 3. So I'll say like plus 3, I think. And then so let me say like for step 1. For step 1, we have is equal to 7. And 7 is value 0 here. So again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on, count that again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's like value, let me say, uh, value 0. And since I've hit 0, let me see, 0 represents out of stock products. After processing each 0 is applicated. And I'll say J, which equals to 10. And I'll check if it's, so this, so pointer J, I'll check it if it's greater than the length of the array, so that, let me see, let me just say greater, or equal, because then even if it's 8, it won't write, I won't be able to write. So let me say greater than or equal to 8, right? So let me say hold on, let me understand this properly. Beyond, so beyond the length of the original array should not be modified. So like out of bounds, right? Out of bounds. So I'm gonna say skip here. And I'll say, all right, since the index 7 is 0, right? I'm gonna decrement J here. I'm just trying to see if this works. I'm gonna decrement J, and I'll say J now is J now is 9. All right, I'll say J now is 9, which is still greater than 8, right? So I'll just keep again, and this time I'll decrement I as well. So now I becomes, what is I? 6 now. 6, and J becomes 8. 8, right? Okay, so for step 2 on this, I hope this theory is correct. Because I want to see, because we need to write it right to the output, array. I want to see if it writes properly here. So we have 0, 5, so 0, 2. Yeah. But I want to see if I manage to write 2 here in index 7, then I know everything else will be correct. So I start with what's index, so pointer I now is 6, right? And 6, what value is 6? 5, okay. So say value, so value 5, and J, what is J? Is 8. 8, which is greater than 8, which is not greater than, but it's equal to 8, right? So in this case, we just skip it. And I'll decrement I. I now becomes 5, and J becomes now 7. So for step 3, so let's see, step 3, I is 5, So I is 5. Um, 5 is what value? That's a 0, 5, 2. So 5 is value 2. Uh, value 2. J is 7, right? Um, 7. Where is it? This way. So which is less than the length of the array, right? It's less than 8. So I'm gonna write. So I'm gonna write. Um, I'm gonna write on. Yeah, right. So let me see here. So I'm gonna write on the array, right? On the array. Um, of of the pointer j. I'm gonna say. Let me say it like this. I'm say on the array, the index 7. Right. So pointer. The pointer is just in this case helping me point it. So I'm gonna write on the index 7 the. All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. So the pointer of I is currently on index of position number 5, right? And j is on index 7. So j pointing to 7 is less than the length of the array. So that is um, that is the index. So now I write in the array index 7. I'll write the value of, you know, I'll write the value of what the pointer I is pointing at. So pointer I is pointing at, position number 5, and position number 5 has the value 2 here. So I write 2 now in the position that J7, or that in the position that J is pointing to. I know it's quite a lot. So I'll do it like this, right? So then this kind of becomes something like this. Let me say, um, say output, output. So then, hold on. Just no, actually, let me do it like this. So then, so now this becomes like this. So we write 2 on it, right? Mm, say here, all right, 2 here, and now where's I? So I was 5, so now I becomes 4, and J becomes 6. And let me say step 4. So I'm just gonna do this one more step, but it kind of goes on and on and on. I think until we reach. Just want to make sure. Yeah, 4. And 4 has a value of, let me see here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 0. Okay, so I'm gonna say value 0. So since we hit 0 here, and J is equal to 6, right? Equal to let me say 6, and it being less than 8. Of course, I don't really need to write it, but it's less than 8. So we write um, so I'm gonna write in what I'm gonna write the in the array in the index six of the array, right? In the index six of the array, which is what the pointer j is pointing to, right? Which is six. And I'll write it. I'll write the value zero, right? All right, the value is zero on it. Now, since we've hit zero here on the pointer I, um, let me see if I get this right. Since we've hit zero here on the point I, so now that means that j, right? So j, so every time we hit zero, we decrement j. So now j becomes 5, right? Becomes 5. And we write, let me say here, I'm gonna write here, um, I'm gonna write here in the array 5, we're gonna duplicate this. So we're gonna write 0. I'm gonna write 0. And so here now we write 0, like that, right? Oh, wait, so what happens here is, so value 0, 6, the pointer j, 6 is less than 8, so we write in the index 6, 0, and sorry, since we've hit 0, we gotta duplicate it, so we decrement j and we write in the array 5j, so this is like this. It's quite clear that it's coming close to the expected output here. So it's 2, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0. I'm pretty confident here on the steps 5 and 6 and 7. It continues. Um, this being an interview, uh, you're in a coding interview with a retail company here. So this being an interview, I'd probably I'd shorten this these steps by asking the interviewer if we can just skip, with the assumption that the following steps would, you know, come to this conclusion based on the time factor of the interview. Um, so, to anyone probably watching this, they could probably try and go step by step to see, you know, the expected output. But I'm pretty confident. I'm 99% confident that the next steps would give me 31004. All right. Um, but now I want to see. Let me do like something like this. I want to see like, let me say final step or last step. I don't know. Let me say last step. What happens then when, I and J, like, what happens if like I and J are, um, if they have the same, like the pointers have the same index or steps, right? Does that make sense? Um, I'll say, because when we want to like, let me say your, let me think here, let me think. Mm, let me think. Let me think. Like based on this algorithm here, based on this algorithm, it's clear that I and J would probably not reach one and one together because most of the times when it gets to 4 and 6 here, and then J just goes to 5. So I'm pretty sure the next steps would be I3, J5, then I2, J4, then J would go to 3 again, and then it'll be I1, it'll be J2 or J3, and then it'll be I0, and then it will be um, I1, and it will go to it'll be J1, and it will go to J0 again. So what happens, like if it's like I0, J0, um, I mean J is less than 8, right? 0 is less than 8. I'll come to that later. But for now, here we just stop. I'm just gonna say stop here. All right, I think the algorithm should stop here. Um, but yeah, this is probably it. Just actually no, hold on. Let me leave this here. Let me leave this here. All right. All right. So now let's get to coding. Um, let's get to coding here. I think like trying to figure out here. All right. Let me say open this blue jay here. Create a whole new project here. Call this inventory manager. And create a new class. And I'll call this inventory manager. Inventory manager. Actually, hold on. Let me create a package first. I mean, let me create a package. Hold on. Say com inside. Let me create a new package here. I'll say um, company. Let me see. Company. What's the name of this company? What is the name of the company? Retail company that is looking to. All right, there's no name, so I'm just gonna say company. Get inside, and I'll say inside this company. Let me go inventory. All right, so I'm gonna write here inside this inventory. I know that's probably a lot, but now I'm gonna create a new class in here, and I'll say inventory manager. Manager, inventory manager. So it automatically already defines your package, company, inventory. Right, so inventory package is inside the company package, which is inside the package. Remove this here as unnecessary for now. Clear up here. Boilerplate here. Okay, okay. So we have a class created, and now let me go ahead and create public static. I think in one of the projects I explained the static keyword. So by public static void, and I'll say, what am I gonna call this actually? Even what am I calling this? What am I calling this? Okay, let me just call this duplicate zeros. Duplicate zeros, right? And I'll say the integer array. Okay. All right, so we know that we have our pointers, we have count zero, we have the inventory. What do we need here? Let me start with. All right, so start with the number, right? Of let's just say n. N is fine. I'll call it which is the length of the array, right? And I'm gonna call the zeros. Zeros. Call this like this. Duplicate zeros. And I'll say zeros, like that. Okay, and then I'll say, let me create like a first pass, right? So the first pass, probably need to start testing this as well. We're gonna like count, right? We're gonna count. We're gonna count like the total zeros in the original array. We're gonna count the total zeros in the original array. Total zeros in the original array. Right. And then we're gonna set up two pointers for backwards, because we actually did like backwards traversal here. So the word traversal is keeping me. All right, traversal. So that means we're gonna work backwards, right? We're gonna work backwards. I'm trying to figure out, should I like create a unit test now? Do I need to create a unit test now? I don't know. Let's say so for I'll say for the integer num in the array, say if the num is 0, then I'll just skip this by saying this? Like, you know, um, you might notice here that I didn't do something like I didn't use the curly braces here. I mean, I really only just have one block of code here, so it doesn't really. It's not really safe, to be honest. I think um, this is not entirely safe here, but it's really just one block of code here. It's not also too good for testing, but that's why I'm trying to figure out if I should do a test now as well. Should I do like a test-driven development here? That's fine. And set up some pointers. Let me do something like this. So set up two pointers for backwards reversal, right? And I'm gonna say the first pointer is I, right? So I is equal to, so since it's backwards reversal, we're gonna go to the last index of the array, right? Say something like just like initializes, right? Let's just say like initializes um, I at the last original index, right? What's going on? I forgot the semicolon. All right, and so we have j, which equals to, actually, hold on, which equals to n minus 1, right, plus uh, the number of count of zeros, right, which, like, so we go like zeros, and zeros. Yeah, so plus zeros. Yeah, the length of the array. Um, Actually, let me see like this. Can count this here. Length of the array. 8. Um, I'm gonna say while. So while I less than j, um, say, and it's I less than j because like it stops if they are the same, um, if they have the same number or they're pointing to the same index. Essentially, if pointer I and j are pointing to the same index, it just stops. Um, yeah. So while I is less than j, I'm gonna say. Um, I want to say if I want to check something real quick here. I want to say if j, right, is greater than or less than. Yeah, if um oh yeah, so if j is less than the length of the array, yeah, so if j, because yeah, I was checking if j is greater than or equal. So I'll see here if j is less than the the length of the array. Um, oh, fix something here. J is less than the length of the array. I'll say. Hmm, j is less than the length of the array, uh, if j is less than the length of the array, mm, 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 mm. Say the array j j, right? Yeah, this just copies, right? Current element to its new element. In this case, to its new slot here. Does it? Yeah, it just copies a current element to its new slot there, and um, see here. I think let's say oops, big error there. I'm gonna say if um, the array um, so if the array I, so the pointer array, if the array I is equal to 0, then I'm gonna decrement j, right? Yeah, I'll decrement j, and I say if j, uh, I think I need to start testing. Hold on, I need to make sure. I think I need to start testing here, man. Hold on. I think we did. So j is less than n. So now we do still. So array is we decrement j, then say here. So if j is less than n, so j is less than n, I'll say yeah. So this just writes duplicated 0. And let's see, let me see here. Yeah, let me just say, um, let me go with, right? Which essentially this does is just it advances the original reader um, left, right? And let me say this so that it advances the writer left as well. Um, uh, File this.